Hello, and you're just in time for another exciting episode of Eye on the Money, the television show that gives you insights into how to improve your financial well-being as well as make your money work for you. I'm Ingrid Nantege. On today's show, we discuss youth and personal finance. Now, last week, the world celebrated Global Money Week, an annual global celebration initiated by Child and Youth Finance International to raise awareness on economic citizenship. It involves directly engaging children and youth in local and regional events and activities aimed at inspiring them to learn about money and entrepreneurship. The main objective of this year's celebration centered on equipping children and young people with knowledge and skills to make smart financial decisions throughout their lives. Joining me on the show to discuss why it's important to equip the youth with personal finance knowledge and skills, as well as discuss initiatives by the Equity Group, is Associate Director, Enterprise Development and Financial Inclusion at the Equity Group Foundation, Anthony Kiogora. Welcome to the show, Anthony.
Thank you so much, Ingrid.
What
a pleasure being here.
What a fancy title.
It's quite mouthful.
It is quite a mouthful, but I feel like it speaks of what your expertise is.
Yeah, exactly. But in simple terms, it just means biashara and pesa to help people develop capabilities around those areas.
Even in those simple terms, I feel like you're the right person to be here in studio with me.
Asante, thank you.
So, Global Money Week. Last week, we commemorated the Global Money Week. And if we're to talk about the Global Money Week, it's really about the youth, empowering them with the right personal management skills, just what to do with money, as well as encourage entrepreneurship. However, even as we talk about youth and just exercising good practices when it comes to personal finance, why is it even important to have this conversation?
Thank you, Ingrid. For the youth and children, the same way that we are striving to equip them with different competencies around academics, around moral values, we believe at Equity that money is actually a lifestyle, and that is the enabler of someone's lifestyle. The good book says that train a child early, and when he grows up, he'll not depart from whatever values, whatever character he has developed from a nascent age. And so it's important to equip the right knowledge, the right attitudes, and the right skills as far as money management is concerned, right from that very tender age, so that we're able to demystify some of the traditional, not so factual myths around money. So that they're able to appreciate, use it wisely, and deploy it for their own economic empowerment, personal growth, and develop the competence so that whether they have little or they get a lot of money later on in life, it does not overwhelm them either way, so that they're competent to manage their finances.
Brilliant. And Anthony, you mentioned something that I feel is very, very important, particularly within our context, and I'm talking about as Africans, as Kenyans, as, people in the region. When it comes to money, there's so many traditional myths. And even as we talk about just teaching people from a young age so that later in life they're not overwhelmed, why are we seeing the conversation shift so much in this direction? What have we realized are the consequences of children just not getting this knowledge at a young age? How has this then impacted children and how they manage money later on in life? What are the consequences of not teaching them from a young age?
Thank you, Ingrid. What I would say is that we've observed some worrying trends, especially among our youth populace, with the advent of digitization, with the advent of easily accessible, for example, mobile-based loans, not necessarily from Equity, but there are so many providers of those. If you look at the Credit Reference Bureau today, the largest number of people who are listed negatively in those bureaus is the youth. Reason being, they've not learned the discipline of saving consistently, secondly, developing income streams simple income generating activities, irrespective of whether they're just completing high school or whether they are in a tertiary institution. And they focus more on spending. And when I say spending, most of the time is not spending for to invest in these sort of income streams that will generate a pipeline of earnings that they can sustainably depend on in the advent of what we are seeing, high unemployment. Employment is no longer guaranteed, so youth need to take the initiative of developing these income streams, and not to borrow costly money, as we are seeing from some of the mobile available short-term loans that end up putting them even in a disadvantage and really harming their credit history that they would need in future to really support their personal development. So we believe that offering both non-financial services to give them the capability, the knowledge, the skills and right attitudes towards money, we can be able to contribute towards reversing this worrisome trend.
Perfect. And even as we talk about that, but if we're practically speaking, what would you say, still in the same line with what you're talking about, is the best way to go about this? Because, you know, again, in the African context, I don't know if I'm just speaking for myself, growing up, our parents have this perception or notion when it comes to giving children money, or they don't want to spoil you, they don't want to expose you to too much. So even as we talk about imparting skills on children, what's the best way to do it? Is it by actually giving them money so then they learn to control it, they learn what the value is, or is it more theoretical? How do we go about achieving everything that we're talking about?
Thank you, Ingrid. I'll speak as a parent here,
right,
first and foremost, because I believe that involving our children, even in household financial decisions, can really help them understand the dynamics around money. First of all, the most important tenet is for them to understand that you need to put in some effort, some work, to get a return in the form of money as a starting point. Secondly, expenditure must be planned. So involving the children even in doing basic, simple household budgets, whether it's on a daily basis, what goes to food, what should go to transport, what should go to clothes, what should go to their education. And prioritizing that together with them does make a huge difference for them to start appreciating the need of having a culture and a practice of doing even simple budgets. So we do a lot of training around, first and foremost, coming up with a personal budget, irrespective of your age, whether you're a teenager or you're a young adult, to be able to really plan how you're going to spend that money based on the level of income that you have. Secondly, I would encourage us parents to start by giving them some simple responsibilities and reward those responsibilities as part of preparation for knowing that decent work input is likely to generate rewards, and you graduate them over time, and as they do that, teach them how to save maybe a small proportion of whatever they are earning where possible. And with time, as they see their savings grow, then that becomes a motivator even for them to really save some more, look for more opportunities to utilize their talents, whether it's just cooking a unique meal in the house and rewarding that, whether it's washing the car, or for those that are running micro enterprises, their involvement in our day-to-day business, so that they can be able to understand that work can generate money, and money that is earned through work, they'll learn that you cannot easily just squander it or spend it anyhowly, right, on short-term gratifications. So that enables them to develop also patience over time, and when they grow up, as Ad said, then they'll not depart from those practices. You'll have given them a good foundation for which to build on even later on in their lives.
So even this next question, I would like for you to speak to me as a parent. So as a parent, and you're giving me advice on how to nurture my child with good personal finance habits from a young age, I would ask, how young is too young? How soon should a parent start? And even when they're starting with young children, maybe what are some of the steps that they need to think about even as they keep graduating to now more complex? You know what I'm talking about? How young is too young to start? And even when you're starting with children, how do you then progressively keep imparting these skills onto them?
Thank you, Ingrid. I would say that as soon as one, they're able to communicate, that is the best time to start, and you'll be able to realize this much earlier as a parent, probably even at playgroup level. What I believe now is the PP1 level of education, or age-wise, anywhere around 4 to 5 years, we should start instilling some of these money values little by little. As they graduate to lower primary, to upper primary school, I believe at that age they should be able to do basic course even at household level. And as I had said, we can start incentivizing them to take up more responsibilities in the house, whether it's gardening and all that, and just rewarding that effort and that initiative. And you'll be surprised because what that does, as they begin doing that, then they start realizing, supposing I'm able to do much more in my environment, because that is the immediate environment at that point in time, whether it's during the holidays when you spend time with them much more, and they have a little more time to do extra duties around the house, they'll start realizing that this is a good thing. Better still, if we can expose them to other income generating activities, whether it's spending time at the shop, or at any business activities, maybe with a neighbor or a friend, and they start asking questions, and you'll see their eagerness and curiosity to learn much more. They start asking you, so how much do we make per day? Right. Already that curious mind gives a perfect opportunity now to start teaching these important values and principles of income, expenditure, and balancing, and those two, and growing them gradually over time. Great. So that they don't imagine that the moment I just step out of high school, I should be earning 100,000 in my first job. That is not the reality in the world that we live in today. And they'll be able to appreciate that and find ways of being innovative. And we are preparing them even for adverse conditions also, because sometimes with the expectation that all will be well, it doesn't turn out that way, and they'll be well prepared for adversity. I'd rather prepare my children for adversity than for prosperity, so that in the event prosperity happens, still they are still prepared either way. Nicely put. Thank you.
Anthony, it's at this very point that I think it would be a great idea to take a very quick break, but then we'll be right back to talk about that Global Money Week. So if you're watching us from home, remember you can be a part of the conversation by sending your feedback and comments to our social media handles at Metropol TV KE on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Don't go anywhere.